This week's Torah portion is the portion of Korach. We all read the story about Korach. Korach was Moses' cousin. And Korach saw Moses was the leader of the Jewish people, shepherding them faithfully. Aaron, his brother, was the high priest. And Korach wanted the power. Korach wanted to be the leader. So what does Korach do? Like typical leaders that are power hungry, he turns to the Jewish people and he tells them, I'm not fighting for myself, I'm fighting for you. He says, I don't want leadership, but what about you? You, the small people, who's looking after you? Who's going to make sure that you're represented? Of course, we all know that Korach only was interested in power for himself. But the story with leaders that cling to power, as we see today in America, we had a debate last week of two leaders that want to be president that are both either near 80 or at 80 plus. And instead of giving a new generation of young, creative leaders, they're clinging to power. But they, of course, all tell us that they're doing it for us because they care about us. The little guy in the street, who's going to protect us? But as is the story with Korach, usually people who tell you they're fighting for power for you, usually are only fighting for power for themselves. And the little guy is never thought of. Courageous leaders are ones who really look after their people and are ready to step back and to pause what they're doing to protect the people, because ultimately they realize that they service the people and they're at the mercy of the people, not the people at the mercy of them. The rabbi says something beautiful. The beginning of the portion says, Vayikach Korach, and Korach took. So the commentaries and Rashi writers say, what do you mean he took? Vayikach Korach, he took the people? What do you mean he took them? And the simple commentary the rabbis give is, Kacham b'dvarim, he took them with words, he persuaded them through his words that he meant them, he cared for them. All nice, right? But then there's a deeper and beautiful interpretation that I think is so important for the times and for us to know. The commentaries say there's three types of people. Those who are there to take, those who are there to give, and those who are looking to match. Some people say, I always want to be giving. I always want to be sharing. Some people say, you give me, I'll give you, I'll match you. And some people always want to take. And in life, sometimes we think that the real winners are those who take or who match. But ultimately, the true winners and true people are those who give. Because ultimately, when you give, you're really taking. Vayikach Korach, Korach came to take. He might have said he was there to give. He might have said he was there to help the people. But ultimately, Korach wanted one thing. He wanted power. He wanted to take. He wanted to be for himself. And when the Torah is telling you is, by starting off the portion with Vayikach Korach, Korach took, the Torah wants to remind us of Korach's first and utter mistake that led to his failure. He was a taker instead of being a giver. You look at what's going on in Israel. You look at what's going on in Gaza. You have these leaders of Hamas that each one is worth billions of dollars, sitting in Qatar, flying on private jets, living the most luxurious life, as are their kids. Yet, they tell the people in Gaza that they're there to protect them, to look after them. They're fighting for their cause. But really, all they are takers. They just want what's for them. They should be more wealthy. They should be in power. They should be in control. The message that we learn from Korach today more than ever is that true leadership is people that are there to give, not to take. And not just to say that they're there to give, but really to be people that remember that leaders serve the people. And ultimately, we have to be there for the benefit of the people. May Hashem give that we should overcome all these challenges and obstacles. And we should always be able to be on the giving side, on the sharing side, because there's nothing greater and more satisfactory and more joyful and more blessed than being able to give. God bless you. Have a